Hey everyone, and welcome to part 3 of this video. So around this time that I had met her, it was again during the pandemic, and it was a time where, the world had stopped, for everyone. And so for me to meet her at that time, I always say that it was a blessing because I never thought that I would. Again, like meet somebody, like that. Yeah, you would meet people in life, but I never felt like I was going to meet someone that was going to change my life. That was going to come into it and allow me just to be me. You know what I'm saying? So I knew that I had all this love inside that was bottled up. And I felt like I never could fully let it out because I was always a guy who was always taken advantage of by the people around him. Again, this is not a singular thing. This is just the people that I allowed around me, and I own that. That I was a guy who went to Catholic church, was raised in the Catholic faith, and I allowed people in my life at a point in time where I shouldn't have. And I blame myself for that. Instead of being strong in faith, you get to that point in life where you think you know it all, you're young, and you go out there and you try to experience the world and you try to do it without putting God first, and you fail because of that. And so I was very fortunate to have church there. Again, I was raised as a Catholic, so I was always going to church pretty much, but not like I did when I was younger and not like I do now. So probably the past 6 years, I've gone as much as I did when I was younger. When your parents drag you to church, that's how it is now. And I go every Sunday. I take it very seriously. And I knew that I wanted someone in my life like that. So when I met her, we're both Catholic, and that was a good thing because we weren't converts, or we weren't, people who had just became Catholics. We were born and raised with a lot of the same values, and that was important to me. We also respected each other's, boundaries and things like that, which was very important to us. And, putting God first was also important to us, and getting to know each other. And I knew then that I had fallen for her. Now, this is where the story gets interesting, and you've heard about the storm. Now let's get to where the sunshine happens. So when I met her, I knew I had fallen for her, but I didn't know how to tell my mom because, again, I was a guy who was like, man, I'm not dating. I'm team no girls. I'm going to travel, have a couple of dogs running around the house. I'm just going to do it like that. So I didn't know how to tell my mom I had met somebody because I didn't know if my mom was going to take it like, okay, he met another person, so this is just going to be a friend. I was going to tell my mom the truth. Like, Mom, I feel like God has sent me this woman. And my mom I'm Catholic. My mom is super duper Catholic. You know what I mean? Like Catholic everything. And I'm Catholic too, but she's super duper. So I didn't know how to just say that. But I knew how I felt. I had never felt that way about someone before. Like in my whole entire life, it was like my whole world started to revolve around this woman. And I was like, okay, I need to have a talk with Mom because that's my family. That's my family right there. So I remember going over to my mom's house and I said, Mom, I met someone. She was like, okay, that's good. That's how her reaction was. She was doing dishes like, okay, that's great. I'm happy for you. That's good. I said, no, Mom, I really met someone. She was like, oh, that's good, Dante. I'm happy that you met someone. Like, no, Mom. I said, I met someone. I'm totally in love with this person. My mom was like, you just heard the dish go down like this. It was like, what? And I said, Mom, I'm totally in love with this person. I'm going to England and I'm going to ask her to marry me. And my mom was like, where are you going? When did this happen? Who are you talking about? What? Like, that was her reaction. She was like, when did this happen? How did I miss this? I said, Mom, I can't explain it, but I feel like God has sent me this woman. Like, God sent me this woman just for me. I never felt this way about anybody in my life. And she looked at me like, you're serious? And I said, yes. I said, I'm going to ask her to marry me. She might say no, because I didn't know at the time, but I knew how I felt. I knew where my heart was. So I remember talking to my mom. My mom was like, look, that's a far trip. I know you've been before, but are you thinking this through? And I was like, Mom, I said, she's the most amazing woman I've ever met in my life. I said, she's everything I've ever asked for. I'm not saying it's perfect, but I'm saying she's the one. So my mom was like, okay, all right, Well, I gotta meet her, right? You know what I mean? And you know, face to face. But then the pandemic was there, and we couldn't do that. So my mom kind of had a conversation with her and things like that. And so I went out and I designed this engagement ring, which I had never done. You know what I'm saying? I literally was doing things that I had never done before. And I was like, okay, let me go out here and I'm going to design this engagement ring. Now, mind you, this is a guy that was Team No Girls. This was a guy that almost 4 years prior was walking into the gym like this. Literally, I wasn't looking at women. I wasn't trying to hear that because I had gone through some stuff. So like, this was a guy that was like, man, I'm gonna just have dogs. You know, like I said, I had met people, but like I said, I understood even then why God kept the door shut on that, because he was saving me for her. And I say this because it just goes to show God will pull you through the storm to bring you to the light. I mean, and I'm living proof of that. I went through hell, man, to get to where I am, and God has pulled me through. So I'm living proof of that. So before I continue the story, never give up on yourself. Always have faith. Believe you can. Don't settle for less, man. I mean, God will provide. And I mean, literally, God has sent me this woman. So I knew that this was the woman I was going to marry. So I'm building this ring. I'm doing these things. I'm booking my tickets, and my flight gets canceled like 2 or 3 times because of the pandemic. And I'm like, I'm not giving up. I'm going to get myself on that plane and I'm going to see this woman. First time it got canceled, I was like, okay. Second time it got canceled, I was like, all right. Third time I waited to book it. You know, with the pandemic and the borders being closed, I couldn't travel to England, you know. Then England had this window that opened up for 2 weeks. It was like, okay, we're going to allow U.S. travelers in for the holiday. You got to pay for testing. You got to do all this stuff. I was like, that's it. I'm over there. So I get on a plane and I make it. You can't tell me God isn't good, man. You can't tell me that, because only God can make that happen. You talking about a year, almost a year goes by, 2 canceled trips, and I couldn't fly there, and God opened the doors for me to go there. I get on a plane and I see this woman, and it's like, wow. Now, I had previously told my mom, I said, Mom, I'm going to ask her to marry me. I wanted to do it here, you know, and my mom was always like, well, how are you going to do it? I was like, I was going to do it like in Hershey Park, and I was going to do it like with candies and all this different stuff. I had a plan in place, but that just wasn't the way it was supposed to be. It landed a whole different way. And I remember my mom kind of telling me, like, before I got on a plane, I want you to be happy. You deserve to be happy. We've all gone through things in life. It's not always fair, but you truly deserve to be happy. You're my son, and I love you. You're my only heir, and I want the best for you. If you love this woman and you truly, truly want to marry her, then you go and you tell her you want to marry her. You know, and my mom was very adamant about that. It was like, I will support you. And I was like, okay, I'm going. You know what I mean? I was gone. So I get out there, and those who know the story, I did ask her to marry me. She did say yes. You know, and then obviously the rest is history. We're getting married in a couple of months, even though, you know, with the pandemic and K-1 visa stuff, you know, that went on, you know, that kind of delayed everything. Everything's coming to full circle. I shared this story to let people know this. Everybody goes through something, man. Nobody in this world is perfect. I went through a lot in my life. I'm sure others have gone through a lot in their life. My mom is an amazing woman because she's always been supportive of me. She's always been there, and to say you can do it. She's never told me that I couldn't. She's always said you can be anything you want, or you can accomplish this, even if things don't seem like you can. I've always had a very supportive mom, and I give a lot of credit to her and my grandmother for doing such a wonderful job and instilling me with values and raising me as a Catholic. I always thank my mom for taking me back into St. Ignatius Church, even though I had tears in my eyes at that time, for showing me with God all things are possible. It took a lot of courage to let go and say, I can't anymore. I got to rely on God. I don't have a choice here because I can't do this alone. And it took years, but the years were worth it because I met this woman that I'm totally in love with. And that's the story. Hope you all enjoyed it, man. I shared this to let everybody know if you're going through something, if you're in a dark place, if you're hurting, trust in God. He will pull you through. I'm living proof of that. I've gotten through that. And, I'm in the best place here that I've ever been in my life. And I thank God for it. I thank my mom for it. I think, that I'm very fortunate. I was very fortunate to maintain, a good life through everything. And I'm very thankful and humble. Life is just good, man. And I can't wait to share the rest of the journey with you all as I head to Slovakia. But just stay positive, man. Have faith. I'm not here to preach to anybody. I'm not here to say you have to be Catholic. I'm saying trust in God. I'm living proof that God can pull off anything when you least expect it. And I'm thankful and I'm humble every day that I get to wake up, that I get to have a job, that I get to have a roof over my head, that I have a woman that truly, truly loves me, which is so hard to find. So I'm thankful for that. Hope you enjoyed the story. Peace.